Webflow added even more conditional visibility features recently, and in this video, I'll show you how to upgrade your older projects to take advantage of some of the newer methods. So here we have this background slot, and whenever it's empty, we want to completely remove the slot from the published site. So I'll open the component, I'll select the background, and here for the visibility here, I'll create a conditional, and we're going to say whenever this background here is not empty, then we want the slot to be visible. But when it is empty, we want to remove the slot from the published site. So we're going to start with easier ones like this and kind of work our way up. So here we also have on our section a style attribute, and that allows us to do things like set background red. We can just add CSS directly into the style attribute. But whenever the value of that attribute is empty, we still have this attribute name on the actual section. So we want to clean this up some. Shout out to Matthew Munger from Webflow for even showing me this is possible with the new features. So here on the style attribute name, I'm going to connect that to conditional, and we'll say whenever this style attribute value is set, so whenever there's a value in the field, then we'll set the attribute name to the word style. Otherwise, the attribute name will be completely empty, which will remove the attribute altogether. So that cleans up our HTML a lot, and we can repeat that process for any class attributes or anything we have here. Now, because this is a custom element to allow us to use like the style attributes, it doesn't have Webflow's regular ID field here. So whenever we would want an ID on a custom element, we'd have to add ID as an attribute name and then the actual value we want here. But we don't want to just connect the value up to a prop because then we'd have this unneeded ID field in a lot of places. So the way that I handled this before was I would have one field for the attribute name, which is ID, and another for the value. But that's not super client friendly. So what we can do is we'll go ahead and open this up. And what we want to do is just follow that same process. So we'll go ahead and disconnect this. We'll set the name to be ID, but then we'll connect it to a conditional so that only when the attribute value is set does the name actually become ID. Otherwise, the name is completely removed. And that allows us to get rid of this field altogether and just label this one as ID. So we can go ahead and set that value whenever we want, and it'll automatically add the attribute name. So now let's take it up a notch. So we're going to go into this video component here. And for this video, I have attribute names connected here. So autoplay is a name, and I can remove that. So normally the way this works in HTML is these would be Boolean attributes. So you would only need to add the attribute name of autoplay to make the video autoplay. But in Webflow, we actually had to add a value. It could be anything. It could be true, it could be a space. But as long as this value set, Webflow will add the attribute name on the published site. If we delete the value, Webflow removes the attribute name from the published site. So the way that I had this working is I left a space in there and I just connected the attribute name up to a prop so we can delete that name when we don't want it to autoplay. But now we can actually make this much more client friendly. So if we head over to props and we go ahead and add a switch prop, I'll just call this autoplay 2 since I already kind of have one in here. And we'll say true and false will be our two values. And we can either set the video to autoplay off or true by default. And so what I want to do here is we'll go back over to this and I'll deconnect it. So there's two ways we could do this. I'll show by toggling the value first. So we could connect the value here to a conditional. We could say whenever our switch here is set to true, then we set the value to a space. And whenever it's false, we leave the value off. And that could be perfectly fine here. But I actually prefer to connect the attribute name instead. Just in case Webflow ever changes the way that works, and it's a little bit, it works a little bit more like it should in HTML, where we just toggle the attribute name itself. So let's go ahead and connect that name, and we'll say whenever the autoplay attribute is true, then we set the attribute name to autoplay, and otherwise we leave the attribute name completely unset, which will remove the value as well. So that'll completely clear that attribute, and then we'll just leave a space here for the value. And so now we can delete this. And for this one, if you had certain videos throughout your site that were not autoplaying, you would have to go back to those videos and manually update them with the new switch. But now we have the new switch where we can disable or enable the autoplay. And we can repeat that process for loop and mute it as well. For this image here, I have the default value set to lazy, and we had to type eager whenever it's at the top of the page and it's our first image. So that's pretty easy to connect to a switch. So we would just do a switch here and we would set the loading, and would go ahead and set that between eager and lazy. I would make lazy be the default, eager be the other one there. And now that we have that set, we'll go ahead and delete the old loading attribute. Yes, let's delete. Let's keep just the new one. And now on this image element here where we have loading, we can connect its value here to a conditional here. And we're going to say whenever the value is lazy, we're going to set it to lazy with a lowercase l. And whenever it's eager, we'll set the value to eager like so. And so now we are able to control that. Now, if we head over to things like, for instance, these form fields, we'll notice that we can set things like the booleans of required and checked to actually be the toggle buttons as well, the switch. Now, when we get to things like the role here, so we can set list item if it's inside of a list of multiple checkboxes, or we set the role to none if the list is, if it's just by itself. Now, in this case, we want to make that a switch as well. So we could switch the value between none and list item, but there's really no need to have an attribute with a name of role and a value of none. That's just like a redundant attribute name here. So what we can do instead is I'll go ahead and let's remove that role for a second. We'll delete that. We'll create a new switch and we'll call this role, and the values can be none and list item can be our two options here. And now if we go here, we will actually want to toggle the name here. We'll connect to a conditional, and then we'll say if the role is none, then we'll leave the attribute name completely unset. Else, if the role is list item, we'll set the attribute name to role. So that way we're toggling the attribute name, and then we'll do the exact same for the value. Connect that to a conditional, and if the role is none, we'll leave the value empty, but if the role is list item, we'll set the value to list item. And that way we're able to completely remove both the attribute name and value when this is off, and then apply the attribute name and value when it's on. And we can follow that exact same process for things like this field set here. So this one toggles between a role of none or a role of list. Since this is the list, the slot is the list that holds them all. So we can follow that exact same process, except using the role of none versus list for this one.